Wait 1 second. We're still sending data for Facebook. Hopefully this connects in a minute. Okay, there we go. Thank you everyone for attending the artist series presented by Kickstart Disability and Arts. Kickstart Disability, Arts and Culture and the ConnecTra Society. We're happy to have you here today. As I was explaining to people in the Zoom meeting, this event for the kickoff will be a screening of the documentary Shameless, the Art of Disability, to kind of just set us into the tone of the artist series. The future presentations will be live interviews with with a few artists or within the disability community, and we're super excited to have them. With that, I want to also note that if you want to check out the other presentations, there will be a link in the chat momentarily with kind of our programming guide, and that will direct you to see who's upcoming and if you want to check in. With that, let me get the documentary set up and we can see how this goes. I believe the sound should go through. If not, please message me in the chat and I will fix that. Give me 1 minute.
To their entire group because you said
try to hide the blemishes. Much as I talk about wanting to present true, authentic images, I'm conscious of wanting to look good. I mean, certainly at first I thought disability was hideous, and I didn't want to be identified as somebody with disability. I couldn't stand to walk by a mirror and see myself walking. And now, the film I'm making now it grows right out of that impulse to correct the images and have people tell their own stories, because people with disabilities have not been represented in the media in anything like the truth that I've discovered of our lives. The people I know now, because of the stroke, have enriched my life and are my teachers and my mentors, and they're fellow travelers and they're artists.
I want the title to not be glib. I want the title to have some gravitas.
We have a working title which has been Exposing Ourselves.
I like that.
so it's a bit of a tease. In Your Face is another
In Your
title.
Face,
Yeah.
my original idea was a freak show.
Dreams are freaks.
My problem with dreaming is it too easily takes people down the sentimental road of the dreams and wishes that we could walk and be healed, that kind of thing.
I like Piss on Pity.
I like the sentiment, but
This is low integrity brainstorming here.
I do like my fractured art career too.
Not a crip story. And you vetoed that immediately, and I want to bring it back democratically to the entire group because you said it was way too self-referential. I mean, it's our film, but you're a filmmaker. That's your art form. And it seems to me that we want people to understand that Bonnie Clyde, the filmmaker, is still Bonnie Clyde, the filmmaker. Welcome to Saturday night at the movies. We know that we're going to encounter a few stereotypes tonight. You have to fill something in, a stereotype of your choice.
Stereotype smash.
Killer bingo. And the first film was my first encounter with someone like me in the movies. Roll it.
I should think you could walk if you wanted to enough. Why don't you try? Oh, I wouldn't dare. Why not? I might fall. Lean on me. I'm pretty strong.
So were you going to talk about Heidi?
Heidi is quite determined that Clara will walk. It's required of Clara that she will walk. And Heidi persuades her that if she wants to, and she really, really believes that she can, then she will.
Try hard.
Try hard, Clara. Okay.
Can we dub more than one per clip?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Into the horror part of the evening.
There's a lot more horror than sex, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot more horror than sex.
Who was that at the door earlier? Elvira. Where is she now? In the kitchen? No, I gave her the day off. She has a pretty hard time considering. Oh, Blanche. You know we got rats in the cellar?
Okay, is she supposed to be crazy or is she supposed to be like, you know, a jealous sister? And so I went with the jealous sister.
Yeah.
I decided she couldn't be
She was
my
just-
people.
Right.
You decided to distance yourself from
Yeah.
She was just a villain.
Invisible disabilities.
Whoa. And where are these from?
These are from me.
When?
In my 20s and my 30s and my 40s. Yeah,
That's a story.
that's a story. But, you know, that's the thing about invisible disabilities is wear a long sleeve shirt, you're fine.
So this one I think we'll call The Darker Side. And it's just,
As if Baby Jane wasn't.
one of David's choices.
The Elephant Man, there's a scene where he meets Dr. Tree's wife, who's really lovely, and offers him tea, and he bursts into tears and says, "I'm not used to being treated so well by a beautiful woman," and so it's just like this whole sincere, naive kind of thing. And his coping mechanisms is he's like this totally lovable guy, just like me.
Smash!
You got bingo already? Hey. Nice going, Jeff.
Tara, cheerful sufferer.
Yes, she is.
Hapless fool from my
All right, of course. Lenny.
And creepy again. I had a lot of bad, evil, sinister, creepy, maniacal.
All right. Everything okay?
I'm fine. I don't think there's any shame in someone being injured.
I am not merely injured, Commander. Dr. Crusher believes my paralysis to be permanent.
I'm sorry.
I want you to help me die.
There must be other options.
No, there are not. I will not live as an object of pity or shame. My life as a Klingon is over.
Better to be a dead Klingon than a live person with a disability, I guess. Is the message.
Yep.
And having said that that's a bad influence on kids, because, what does Worf know about disability anyways?
People can't imagine, you know, a life worth living that's different from what they know.
I certainly claim the right to decide when I've had enough. You know, I don't know, I'm not sure how old and decrepit I want to get, you know.
I want to be very old and very decrepit, please.
Interesting, very personal question.
Well, it's really weird because I think society is really permissive of people like you killing themselves, and they're really preventative of people like me killing myself.
Yes, it's so true. So
It's like it makes sense.
yeah.
But
So we
me,
need
I'm
some-
just crazy, so they gotta stop me.
So we need some kind of proxy system, right? I'll give Persimmon my proxy.
Thank you. I accept.
This is Big Art Stereotype. I think I've seen this movie already, Persimmon.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go home and figure out what they want to say about themselves in their lives and their particular experience of disability. And as a filmmaker, I'm going to be asking my friends a lot of questions. It's funny that even after 16 years, I feel like a newcomer to this world.
As wonderful as I am, I'm Reverend Dave, the beloved founder of the Church of 80% Sincerity. The Church of 80% Sincerity is the church of choice for recovering perfectionists. We are the gathering of the flawed. Anyway, you should respect me because I belong to a gang. Yes, a gang of the cooler, disfigured guys in show business like me. Freddy Krueger, Igor, Jason, the Beast, the Phantom of the Opera, Quasimodo, Frankenstein. Those are my homeboys. We do the kind of things that facially disfigured guys like to do, which is basically hang out in the bushes, but that's kind of fun. So we lurch around, we talk to each other the way they show us on TV and the movies. And then every once in a while we get to jump out and strangle a cute teenager. My belief is I can step in front of any English-speaking audience in the world and knock them dead. I feel like I should always get a standing ovation. Now, that's my good days. You know?
So I guess I wanted to tell you some things first about this shoot today, okay? This is David's workshop. David paid to have Corey work with him today. So, but he's very excited to have, he likes an audience and he likes a camera. So, and we're all being very conscious that it is a film and we're making a film. So you should feel free to be active and get right up there and run around with them.
Funny.
I first met Dave when he was performing the Church of 80% Sincerity at a disability studies conference. And Dave was the headliner. The show knocked me out because here was this guy who, you know, normally would be kind of hiding and not out in public. And he was, you know, taking center stage in this one-person show, flaunting his face. This is about where you want David?
Gravity is stretching it out here. So let's do exercise together to continue warming up some transformations, right? So I'll start a repetitive sound in motion. Let's start out with the most extreme. Let's just find the physicality, find the Igor's body at its most extreme.
Yeah.
The key is sort of the hunch in the left shoulder is what really starts the transformation. Talk about David. Tell us about who you are to David.
That's what I want to do. Scare him.
Okay.
That's what I want to
okay,
do.
stay there with the scary stuff. And what's it like for you? What is scaring? What does that do for you?
It makes me feel strong. I like it. I've always had the scary face. I just don't show it often. And he is Mr. Nice. He would never do this. He leaves it up to ego. I like to go to the mall with Quasimodo and David. And we go to Nordstrom's. And we go to the makeup department, and we go to the makeover counter, and we just stand there. And I say, oh, is Elizabeth Arden here? No? Oh, we'll wait. Like that. When the audience is happy, Igor is happy.
Okay. Let's let Igor go. Thank you.
Corey says this show is not about your face. This is a show about grace. This is a show about a spiritual journey. Your face is part of it. So he has no concept of disability culture. The idea of there being that I am like a disabled actor or something like that, he sort of like doesn't get that. So it's sort of a shock. Wanting to be more mainstream, I have to discard that. The idea that this is about my face. Of course it is. I have to believe that I have enough talent to do it without depending on my face as a prop. Does that make sense?
Because if you remove the face being the central theme, you're saying...
Why is anybody interested in me? Why would they, am I that good? Am I that funny? Are my stories as compelling? That's a big question. Bonnie, this is the main gallery.
Yeah? In the bathroom?
Yes.
Whoa.
This is, I spend more time in the kitchen, so this is it. So there's Marlena on her 50th birthday. Took secret tap dancing lessons for 2 months. Came out on stage and did Dancing in the Rain, and she nailed it. It was great.
Mm-hmm. One of the nicest things that ever happened to me was to meet David, and it was totally unexpected. I was taking a massage class, learning to give massages to people in hospitals. From the other side of the curtain, I heard this wonderful man's voice. And I got goosebumps. So I started to go off into a fantasy. And I thought, because of that low voice, is kind of husky and masculine, that and very sexy, by the way, that that David was about 6 feet tall, because I like guys that are about 6 feet tall. They have dark olive skin. They wear really tight blue jeans and boots, and look a little bit like, who's the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark? And Harrison Ford, yeah. And I pulled the curtain, and when I saw David and saw his face and saw that he was disfigured, I was shocked. It was like, oh God, I feel a little embarrassed. I feel embarrassed, Bonnie, even saying that now, because I don't see David's face as being different, and I never thought of myself as the kind of person who would be, I wouldn't say I was repulsed, but just, it really, I guess maybe at some level there was a little of that. I hate to admit it, but it just really put me off. But you know how it is when you have a crush on someone. So I watched him through the whole class. I watched how he interacted with people. He was so friendly, and he had this way of drawing people to him. And I know how it is when you have a crush on someone. Go up and ask him to be my partner. I might never see him again, you know. So I did. So David and I, we became good friends. I never thought of myself as the kind of... just fell in love with him. And the odd thing was that I was married to someone else at the time. I felt like it was the first time in my life I was with a man who really listened. You know, it was too hard to resist, you know. It sounds so shallow talking about it. You had to leave a 17-year marriage. You know, because you feel like your soul's touched like that. And David never talked about his face. You know, we had sex for 6 months, and he never, ever talked about it. Then one night he said to me, "Do you want to know what happened to my face?" And I said, "I thought you'd never ask." You know, I thought, yes, I want to hear. I want to hear.
This is a vascular malformation. Veins, my own veins, kind of veins gone wild and big and kind of bulging and mixed together in strange ways. And then it grew a lot when I was a baby, 1 year old. My lower lip was like a bunch of grapes. And then the surgeries began. My lower lip was removed. I had a lot of radiation therapy that caused my lower part of my face to stop growing. Mm-hmm. And this is a radiation burn right there. When I look in the mirror, I don't look at my hemangioma. What I look at is my eyes and my smile. And I practice looking cute. You know, I do. You think that disfigured people aren't vain? That's wrong. You know, and I try and fix the hair, you know. It's a constant thing. You know, the eyebrows. How ridiculous can you get? We know that you turn away not from our faces, but from yourselves, from your own fears. You're afraid because our faces stir that deep, raw fear that comes lurching out of your unconscious that maybe you're the one who's disfigured.
When I first became disabled, I really didn't want anything to do with other people with disabilities. And I was repulsed, and I didn't want to be one of them, and that wasn't me, all those broken people.
Look up, Bonnie.
The fight against helplessness is something the film director has lived with every day for the last 15 months.
Watch out.
Oh, she's fighting her way back from total paralysis as a result of 2 strokes and radical brain surgery.
I was quadriplegic, and I couldn't breathe without a respirator, and I couldn't talk. I basically could only move my eyes. I could blink to communicate.
It took me a number of years to get over the loss of identity. Filmmaking was a huge part of my identity. It was who I was. I got into film because I thought it was a way of changing the world. Films were a big part of the women's movement, part of forming identity and community and politics and making change.
Oh, yeah, only one hot, sexy token does it all. Come on in, we're gonna tickle your pickle, burn your banana, and make your liver quiver, Daddy.
The research for this film had exposed me to so much sadness that came from seeing the pornography that I was seeing for the first time. I called you because I was asking everybody I met, where do we go for some hope?
It's a big turning point in my rehabilitation is that I met some other people with disabilities who became my role models. And I became involved in the disability rights movement. From what people told me, none of the mainstream media have really covered this. And I'm curious about why. It was very ecstatic making. It was like really the place where I found community. I remember a transformative moment at a disability conference when I saw two women dancing. One was in a wheelchair and one wasn't. I felt as if I discovered how disability, instead of being just a loss, could be in fact an inspiration for creativity. Dance became the metaphor for my own rehabilitation. It reawakened in me the sense of the power of art. I never thought I would make a film again. I mean, it was only with the guarantee of support that I could risk doing it. Certainly I had the story. I had discovered things I needed to share.
Okay, you can see?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
When we got together, there was an attraction of opposites because I was seen as Ms. Prude for having made Not a Love Story. Persimmon was Ms. Gay Porn. She showed me the book, Drawing the Line, which was all new to me.
I think that Not a Love Story really opened up a dialogue at a time that dialogue needed to be opened up. And I think Drawing the Line did a similar thing. I didn't feel like we were on opposite sides. I felt like we were of different generations and we were part of the same process of questioning.
I think we both recognized that these were labels and that, you know, neither of us was the stereotype that we were labeled as. So,
as in so
yeah.
many.
And we enjoyed shocking people, I think, with our collaboration. And here's Slow Dance. This is the book that we collaborated on. We got together regularly to trade goodies, and I would give Persimmon new writing, and she would present me with an assembled morsel. The manuscript moved back and forth between us until we stopped knowing whose idea was whose. I would praise her for an apt phrase, and Persimmon would say, "Yes, it's from your journal." After our book was published, I was hurt because I kept calling you and wanting to have I just missed you. I just missed the contact. It felt like a very abrupt divorce.
I was struggling with depression a lot then, and it's hard for me to go out. It was hard for me to talk to people, and you become more and more isolated, and life gets flatter and flatter, and so you cut yourself off even more.
Well, you described it amazingly well in this book. I mean, the character, who's a performance artist and a, what else is she?
Yeah.
That you are a writer?
Cleaner.
A house cleaner, yes. But, oh my God, it's that Persimmon.
Back in her room with the door closed, she stroked the blade across her upper arm. It didn't hurt. A line of blood appeared. She felt dizzy and scared, and then very happy. She washed the blade and put it back. She didn't bother to write down what she was feeling because it was always the same. Hate myself, hate myself. She didn't return to what had upset her because she didn't want to risk breaking her good mood, so she washed the dishes instead. She was happy all day. 2 days later, she borrowed the razor again, cut deeper. There was more blood, but it still didn't hurt. It started to hurt the next day, at about the same time that her good mood started to fade. She didn't understand the numbness, the joy.
Oh, this is beautiful, Persimmon. Persimmon has asked each of us to send her photographs and treasures and even junk from our pockets. And she's going to assemble portraits of us for the Kickstart Festival. My goodness. Wow. So tell me about it.
You sent me a bunch of photographs and a bunch of items, and the first item that I really focused on was that beautiful shell You see a shell like that, and the only thing you can think is Botticelli's Birth of Venus. So that was that. It had to be you on the half shell. It's kind of funny when we met because Mac was really in the closet about her learning disability. I mean, she didn't say, "Oh, you have a learning disability, so do I."
Not reading the way, you're expected to read is so often sort of almost equivalent to being dumb and stupid. Persimmon was probably the first person in my life who, right from the outset, it didn't matter that I didn't read much.
I bent the rod.
Well, that's okay. We can fix it. It's the fun, challenging parts like this that make you really satisfied when you get it right.
Yeah,
That's why I do the picky parts. Persimmon can't stand them and panics.
Didn't learn to talk until I was 3. Was really spaced out. Kept losing things, forgetting things. Couldn't keep track of things. Couldn't do things. And, my father had this theory that if he hit me enough, I would be able to start to like being normal. My sister was raised to assume she would go to university, she'd go to graduate school, she'd be a professional. I was raised to think if I made it through high school, it's doing good. Not everyone has that. So I feel like, here I am on camera, justifying myself, telling you I really do have a real learning disability. I'm not just making it up to be able to get away with being a bad person. And I hate that I hate that it gets to me.
The driving thing in my rehab was to be independent. I could not conceive of needing an attendant.
What's that about? Wanting to be alone and...
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. My space is really important to me.
Yeah. Jeff, I had worked with the most and probably know the least because he's hard to know. Hello in there.
Is that Bonnie?
The first time I saw Jeff dance, I cried. It was exquisitely expressive and beautiful. Jeff doesn't see himself as a dancer. He'd rather be seen as artistic director of the Kickstart Festival, where he creates space for other artists to do their thing. Gorgeous. Going to do the collecting for Persimmon for your self-portrait.
Well, the first thing I thought of sending her something that represents my obsession with springs. This, which I found on the street when I was about 14 years old. One of the things that's fascinating
Here, I can help.
about being a quad is everything becomes an exercise in balance and friction and very, what's the word for that, mechanical? No, do you notice that as a person with disability that you're hyper aware of the weight of things and the texture of them? And
Not far from dance, I mean.
yeah. And for a bit of whimsy, these two guys, maybe not with the umbrella hat, broken A and a broken R and a broken T, which will represent my fractured or interrupted or whatever art career. Part of my excitement around dance is that people with disabilities have such unique ways of moving that there's just vast territory to be explored.
Well, it breaks my heart to not have it in our film. I'm not going to push you if you don't want to do it, and you have a few other things to do. but just have it part of it.
Well, what if something I'd considered was, my little brief 3-minute solo with the wings and the video projection behind?
Yeah.
I thought of setting that on somebody else and having them do it.
Mm-hmm.
Would that count? With me as choreographer?
Mm-hmm.
I can do it with one hand.
And then let go altogether. You sort of
You roll out, you won't stay in the same spot. Centrifugal force will pull
I
you
guess
out.
it's hard to control that, eh?
Because I can keep it going with one, but
if you want an image, you could imagine yourself dreaming that you're a bird that's just fallen out of the nest, and you're sort of gaining your wings, and then you end up in that ascension kind of thing at the very end. Can we hear the soundtrack?
Sound only?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know how when you unfurl something, it sort of snaps and bounces a bit? Mm-hmm. If you can get that feeling going up, that would be good. So you're falling up, and then you'll slowly pull yourself in, maybe in stages a little bit, until now your head's just limp and your eyes are closed. Whenever you're ready, we should take it from the top. You're still down, and then you're going to do another breath up. Great.
I didn't know if you would be up for this, Jeff.
Up for going through my photo?
Yeah.
Oh, why not, eh? I got nothing to hide.
You're such a private guy.
So that's me and my older brother standing with our legs spread so that our new jeans don't fall down.
I like it. I like the swagger when you were 4.
And this is me in my dilettante artiste phase.
Oh my.
So this is me with a busted neck.
So tell me about the accident.
Oh, so I went to Halifax to go to the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design where I had been accepted.
You were an artist?
Yeah, I had been going to the Vancouver School of Art for a year. I stopped in Edmonton to visit Mom and Dad, and we just went out for a drive on a hot summer day. And I decided to take a dip in this lake. There were several piers, and I actually asked somebody if I could dive off their pier. They all were labeled private pier. And nobody thought to warn me. The water was slightly murky. Actually, somebody else had broken their neck on the same beach a few years earlier. Anyways, I dove in off this pier and just hit the bottom. And it was amazing. I never lost consciousness, and I'll never forget just sort of watching my arms float in front of me and wondering, why can't I move my arm? That was the start of my new life.
More sleeplessness. One of my big concerns about making this movie was not getting enough sleep. I just get all wound up. I can't think if I don't sleep enough, and then I fall. Brain injury is a very elusive, funny thing. It's tricky. It's invisible, and it changes from moment to moment. When I'm tired or stressed, I stumble. I can't find words. I forget things. I have trouble making decisions. And I can't make connections, and that's what art is about, making connections. Let's see what pants I'm gonna wear. It just doesn't leave. It's a big, all-consuming project, which is not. I mean, what I like is that I like to be so involved and engaged, and Michael, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I just took one of those slow motion falls. I was turning somehow.
Same hip?
It's on top of the other.
Oh, that must have really hurt.
No.
No?
I don't know why it doesn't hurt. No, I just thought it was funny.
Funny?
I think it will hurt tomorrow. I think what's going to hurt is I feel a twist in my back. Oh, I think I was tired too.
I think it was tired.
I'm sorry it happened to you.
One of the questions I was going to ask you was whether you go through moments, crises of insecurity and...
Oh, sure. The imposter complex.
Yeah.
Not
you.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Sure I do. I mean, I can't do good work without doing new things.
Yeah.
And so I have to take risks. And sometimes they really scare me.
I've always been a bit in awe of Catherine. I met Catherine when she was interviewing me about slow dance for a journal she was editing about disability art. Catherine was Chief Commissioner of Human Rights in Ontario, and she was very politically active for the rights of people with disabilities in particular.
Morning.
And now she's found her own voice as a writer, but she's still called upon as a disability advocate.
To welcome Catherine Frazee as our first speaker this morning.
In the world that we inhabit, I am genetically atypical. My profile characterized by a disrupted, mutated, or absent gene on the short arm of chromosome 5. Born just 2 years after the invention of amniocentesis, and therefore before its widespread use in Canada, I am therefore a fugitive from the laws of genetic science. The problem is not that I cannot walk. The problem is that I find myself living in a society which is premised in the most fundamental ways upon the assumption that everyone, or everyone who matters, does walk in that quaint, if rather laborious, biped sort of way.
Happy birthday, Catherine.
For Catherine
And yes,
good.
Who love to play with words.
From Bonnie.
Okay, a little word game.
Queer, suitably titled.
Yes.
Magnetic Poetry Kit. Oh my God.
Because it's too dark to write poetry in the closet.
I want to hear more about your relationship.
Okay.
Uh-oh. I have to go out to...
Well, then you leave it for me to talk about.
Oh,
That won't be
God.
safe.
No, that's not safe at all.
I like you start and I interrupt.
Oh, usually it's the other way around.
I know, but I've been talking all day. It's your turn.
Okay. We met in 1985 when I actually answered an ad that Catherine was looking for help. And
This wasn't a personal ad. This was
No. This was
wanted.
an attendant care ad. I went for the interview. I liked her. You know, things seemed like they might be good, but it wasn't enough work for me to support myself. So I gave her quite a hard time, apparently, by hemming and hawing before taking the job. It turns out she was desperate for
And she
help.
was the only applicant.
And I was the only applicant
But I
for the
didn't
job,
let
but
her know
I
that.
had no idea. We were working 18-hour days, 7 days a week.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
It was
Intense.
very
we
intense.
We were traveling, we were
doing public speaks
damage
and media
control.
stuff and tons of damage control at the commission and at the ombudsman's office.
And you were working as an attendant as well?
Well, no, I wasn't doing Catherine's personal
Right.
care during
Not
that
too
year.
much,
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I was not doing that. I was just strictly doing the office stuff. It was at the end.
At the end,
I was
okay.
supposed to go home. And she seduced me. What
No,
can
no,
I say?
no. She jumped me. And there I was, a defenseless cripple.
Oh, poor thing.
We
dear.
just got closer and
So,
closer, and the
yeah.
chemistry
Yeah.
kind of took over.
And the first couple of years were hard.
It was tough because
Hard.
I had to learn how not to be Pat's employer, and how not to take her for granted in terms of her ability to provide care. She was the best, is the best care provider, but that is no reason that she should get that job in addition to being my sweetheart.
Good night. Thank you. Don't be up all night.
Ambulance. Okay, Mom, the ambulance is here, so I'm going to have to go, okay? I'll call you when we get there.
Open the drapes, please.
Okay.
I got a call early in the morning that Catherine had been sick all night. Michael, who's a doctor, advised us to call an ambulance as soon as he saw how very ill she was.
And she normally...
Talk to her directly.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I've been better.
Not great today.
I've been better.
Okay.
Can we use the Hoyer lift to put you in your chair and then from the chair to the...
We can use the higher lift to take me
take
right
her to the house.
All the way,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
I'm what they call a floppy paralytic, so I have no muscle tone, so you have to support everything.
Okay.
And I have full feeling everywhere, and everything is tender.
Okay.
And I can't resist. If you bump my foot, you'll just sprain it.
Catherine has asked me to step in for her and introduce the video at the launch tonight.
Did you write a speech last night after
I
dinner?
wrote it, but it's not finished. And it's one of those high rhetorical things. I don't think it's your style. I'm so not dressed for this event. I've got a gorgeous beige suit and jewelry. Oh well. Okay, slow down. Feet down.
Doing well and feeling well.
Yeah. I'm extremely healthy.
Yeah?
You leaving this behind?
But I never get a
we need to
little
take
bit
those.
sick.
No, it's all or nothing for
It's
you.
all or nothing.
Yeah.
The postal code to headquarters.
Thank you.
You're right on the desk right beside it.
Catherine Frazee, our professor of distinction in the School of Disability Studies at Ryerson, was perhaps the first to have a gleam in her eye about tonight. And as some of you have heard, she's ill and isn't joining us.
The idea which is central to this department and to the research report and to the video of disability as a valued human condition, I love that term of yours, is a revolutionary insight. It contradicts everything we are taught and everything we fear. So you wanted to hear about Friday night?
I sure do.
What do you want to know?
Well, what did you think?
Well, it was a fabulous event you arranged.
Was it?
You laughed it up. You missed that. That's so sad.
I know.
Nobody has explained to me what the basic issue is with you.
Spinal muscular atrophy.
Oh.
It is an extremely rare condition. The fact that we happen to know about 8 women with it.
Are they all as brilliant as you are?
Yes. Apparently it is...
Territory.
You have been incredible spirits. You just haven't let this slap you after
well,
your
I've had
initial...
my moments. I've had my
Have
dark
you?
moments, yeah.
Everybody has their moments.
Oh, good. That makes me feel
It doesn't feel good to leave without knowing the cause of Catherine's serious illness, but it's probably related to her basic condition. We learned that she's far outlived her predicted life expectancy.
I had a lot of privilege and luck that sustained me. Helped me not die, basically, and recover and reach the point of not just surviving, but thriving. And I think the biggest piece of that luck was family.
So that's one of my favorite pictures of us.
It is.
Naomi and
Wow, look at the
Stephen.
face of Naomi.
Seth is playing, but Naomi is giving it to you, which is...
I haven't seen these pictures in ages.
No.
Our kids were 17 and 19 when I had the stroke. Seth was ready to go off to university and independent, and Naomi was a pretty rebellious young woman. We were hiking and biking in a mountain in Vermont, and I just started to get nauseated, and I think before we got home at the tennis court, I couldn't play tennis. And then I got hiccups and double vision.
I noticed that one of Bonnie's eyelids was drooping. We had to move because the timing between a droopy eye and hiccups, and all of these are brainstem signs, and not breathing could be a very short period of time. And within a few days, things were a lot worse. In fact, they kind of looked like this.
Oh, well, that was more than a few days later.
Yeah, but I did take pictures during that time.
Michael's instinct was to go home and gather pictures and stay up all night making slideshows. So you came to the ICU and projected these slides in the...
On the curtains of the cubicle.
Oh, yeah.
It was the reality that we were a family, and that we would continue to be a family. And so all of the kids growing up and all of our lives together, and because it made Bonnie happy.
My stroke turned out to be due to a congenital abnormality in my brainstem, which was a bunch of tangled blood vessels, which I had obviously been born with. And it's like it's been described as a bomb in the brain.
It looked to me like there could be an approach to it, but it would have to be a surgeon with an incredible amount of skill. We talked about alternatives, and we talked about risk-taking with the kids present. And I remember conversations like, basically, you're going to die unless we do something very risky.
I mean, my kids had to go through basically a role reversal. They had to become, at that crazy age in adolescence when you love and hate your parents, they had to become my caretaker. You know, I think it was really hard for them to see me suffer and to be afraid. Basically, I know because I experienced it, that when I need them, they are there.
The men of women who've had strokes leave their wives a shocking rather 80% of the time. Why didn't I leave? Oh, poverty of imagination, I suppose. No, I didn't leave because our relationship basically didn't change. I mean, that's the major issue. That Bonnie takes care of me, and she took care of me when she was in the ICU, and quadriplegic. She was taking care of Seth and me and Naomi.
Hey, Jeff. I'm kind of like thrilled.
Are you?
About your stuff.
How are you?
It's so amazing.
Felt like I was kind of dictating.
That's what you're supposed to do, is dictate to me so that I can partly working out of my vision and partly out of your vision. And the springs, I just kind of thought, Jeff, are you sure?
Basically, they've been in limbo for way too long, so I thought, well, why not give somebody else a chance to do something interesting with them.
I am so honored to be able to lay my hands on a bit of your junk. It's overwhelming.
Wahoo. Oh my God, and there's me.
Yeah, there's you. When it's up at Kickstart, it'll have like a paper beside it with all the words.
I have a feeling of pride in my obsessive compulsive part of me. It's like I feel like, yes, goddammit, this is the way to survive. To have a real good collection of just the right things in your pockets.
I did some experiments with scratching, and I actually quite like this.
It's the scarring. Where does that come from?
Well, the idea came from you talking about wanting to get more in touch with anger, the way you did that Igor in the assembly that I saw.
Oh, I really loved that, actually.
It was beautiful.
It's so hard for me to see images of myself
Yeah.
as that deviate substantially from normal, of course. You know, it's still, after all these years, it's like, ugh.
So you want to see Reverend Dave? He needed to be celestial, and he needed to be kind of tricky in his celestial holiness.
Not consistently celestial, but
80% perhaps.
Perhaps I do stand when I'm still. Perhaps I am a tree, but not a potted tree. This wheelchair does not define me, does not contain me. It is my home, like the ship's iron hull to the barnacle. But it is not my substance. My substance is flesh and earth, root and impulse, instinct and aspiration. A healthy tree that is every bit as much of nature's plan as the grasses that grow in the watery marsh and the mountains that rise up out of the velvet forest. This is my favorite spot right here because it's kind of thick and you can kind of imagine that you're really bushwhacking right here. I keep trying to get Pat not to cut down all the weeds, but she's so civilized. Thank you for making the trip. I feel great.
You look, compared to when we saw you, you were in the ICU when we saw you last.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And
oh my God,
you
yes.
look so different. You make such a thing about being hale and hearty and dispelling the myth of disability as illness.
No question that part of my survival has been about talking back to that stereotype, a sense of proving myself to be tough and strong and resilient. And sometimes I think I get a little carried away. It's so much in my blood. It was so much of the persona that I had to develop to be. That I do and have been forgetful at times about my own human needs. My health was very precarious as a youngster. I had pneumonia a lot. Respiratory conditions are particularly debilitating because I don't have the strength to cough. I've often thought, particularly when the Latimer case was so much in the press, and we heard so much about how little hope Robert Latimer had for his daughter Tracy, and everyone more or less accepted that as the reason, the legitimate reason for him to take his child's life, that loss of hope. Whether or not our circumstances are anything like those of Tracy Latimer, we consider Tracy Latimer to be our equal, because she was our equal. I'm quite sure that there were those same kinds of very, very dark moments for my parents when they had no sense of whether I would live or die, and when they would see me in hospital suffering. And I'm sure wonder if they were doing the right thing, wonder if it was perhaps cruel to keep me going, but they wanted me. and lucky for me. In any case, this to me is my normal and natural body. I'm as comfortable in it as any non-disabled person, I suppose, will be in theirs.
Perfect way to end the day.
Perfect enough.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit more than perfect enough. Listen to me. Today is Saturday, August 7th, period. This morning, before the crew arrived, there was the incident of the white-throated sparrow, period. At a rather high velocity, period. Hard, period. Fell to the porch in the rain, period. I was eating my cornbread, period. Patricia came to investigate, reported a broken neck and no hope, period. A twisted sparrow at my doorstep, period. Correct eye twisted. Choose 2. New paragraph. Open quote. I shall go to bless him, close quote, I said, period. When I came in, he was still breathing. And I saw a glimmer of hope, period. Small songbirds are like that, full of hope, hard-headed, and determined to survive, period.
Crowd.
Excuse us.
Anybody you know?
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, thank you.
Hi. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to movies and art and all that good stuff.
Right?
Friends, good food.
Huh.
So, can we talk a bit about Kickstart and what David's going to do?
Sure so.
I think I sent you that email about doing something for the opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
And then the full show.
Yeah.
And are you okay doing a storytelling workshop, basically a day long?
Day long?
Sleep well, and
yeah.
Robert.
Bye, Dave. Good to see you. Happy trails. Happy trails.
See you soon.
Tell me about the Courage to Come Back award.
Getting the award was, an honor. It was a big thrill. And it was a very flashy event. My God, they had these, it was like the Academy Awards or something, big video screens and lights everywhere and, very well produced. And nice award. Overall, I have to say it was a little too inspirational for my taste. A lot of crying and so almost encouraging people to cry. They put Kleenex on every table.
It was just that kind of carefree July afternoon. Hot sun warming the shore around a clear, cold lake just outside of Edmonton. And on that glorious afternoon, a young man steps on a pier to dive into the water. Steps on a pier, unaware that he is about to change his life forever. An active member of the community and a passionate advocate for others, a role model to us all, because Jeff McMurtry has the courage to come back.
if we can talk about the courage to come back award, there are some big assumptions there, right? That you went away from the good place where the good people are, and that you have come back into the fold. And I guess I find that a little arrogant.
I don't want to be put in a place like up on this pedestal or something where I have to behave and always be. I want to be bad too. So I don't have to uphold this vision or image of inspiration or virtue or whatever.
Right. Safely grip.
Yeah.
It's hopeless because people are inspired no matter what you do. I could go out there and take a dump, you know, and people say, "Oh, you're so courageous."
Can I do it without going upside over?
Hey.
So as soon as I say stop, we stop.
Of course. You're the boss completely.
Are you coming with me?
We're taking you up until you say no more.
Oh, well, maybe I'll say no more. Oh, you're beautiful. Well, when she goes down, it feels like I'm going down. You get to see what Persimmon did with your stop.
I can't wait. Are you taking me there now?
Yeah, I'm taking you there.
Do I have to keep my eyes closed or anything?
Yeah.
It moves us. It impassions us. It emboldens us. Disability art. For many of us, the stuff and business of our everyday and particular lives.
Oh, I love this. What are the copper things at the back?
You know what, Jeff? They're crematorium tokens.
9/11. 9/11? Oh my God! That might be my fave.
That's the one that you had to pose for.
I don't know, it's just very, very me.
You are so photogenic. And I think your junk and my junk just goes together
Yes.
so well.
That's great.
We have complementary junk collections.
Do not underestimate the power of what has happened here. Disabled artists and creators have pushed back the demons of shame and humiliation.
Can you hear me now? Hello, can we have some more mic volume, please? Hello, test, test. 1, 2. Am I getting louder?
It may look like fun and games. It may even feel like fun and games. But that is what is so deliciously subversive about our cultural revolution.
I know that I look differently to you than when you first saw me. I appreciate that, and I thank you. But you know what? You look different to me, too. Because I've learned to have faith in myself, that I have caught at least a glimpse of my own inner beauty, that's opened up this wonderful door to me, where now I'm more able to see the beauty of others.
A planet in a harmony of spheres, whole within whole, within turn.
You're flying.
Horizons of memory and days of soul, yet to come in sonar and overtones.
Making the film really brought me full circle back to my whole self, which includes being a filmmaker in the long run. I mean, I was a filmmaker without disability. Then I was a disabled person without filmmaking. And then now I'm a filmmaker with disability. And I, in fact, made a film. Almost. With the disabilities. Slow down.
Awesome. Well, I don't know about you. I got choked up at certain points. It's the first time I've watched that documentary, so very good documentary.
Yes. Just as I say, the other lady was saying, that was great. Thank you. So it's really, yes. I didn't want to miss, any seconds of it because they're human, just like us, people with disabilities, and that's good. That well, I don't want to be just a talking, but wow, I wish I have her courage, her talent, her everything of just going full circle, being a filmmaker without disability, and then now, yes, it's possible. She's disabled and she's filmmaking. And she's also with her husband, which I think family supports and friends and other survivors too are good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, thank you. Was this just made?
No, this was, I believe, released
in 2006 or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is she, do you know if she's, I don't know her name. I forgot to write her name down. Is she, she's gone full circle, so she's done that. Do you know if she's making another one? I guess, you know, with now in the COVID time, I think, you know, things are kind of, I don't know. I don't want to give the answer, but has she made another,
I'm not sure.
film or video?
I can paste her name into the chat if you want to look into it
Oh,
more.
sure. I just have to click the chat.
Very good.
So
move some stuff out of the way. Okay. Yeah, so her name was Bonnie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Fine. Okay. Thanks, Bonnie.
Yes. With that, I want to say thank you for everyone who watched this documentary with us here today. I know we had some people who had to leave, and all good for that. But thank you guys for sticking through and watching
Thank
this
you.
with me.
Yes, I wouldn't seen this, you know, without this knowledge. So I'm glad that with my disability, I'm able to see this. So thank you. I guess, yes. All right. I guess another Monday, right at 12 o'clock or something else. Yes. So I think I've clicked every one of them. So it's just, you know, to be informed too, be nice. All right. I don't want to talk too much, but thank you. You don't have a name there. How may I call you?
Oh, Angela.
Oh, Angela. That's a nice name, Angela.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Sheena Han. So, all right, everybody, have a good, and you know, it's sunny. So thank goodness we have wind.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.